Welcome back to another sales video. As we could know, I'm not wafting air away. Well, I guess I am. It's not even hot. It's actually just started to snow again. Back on track. So it's another sales video. Yesterday was 7 for 160, 170 bucks, right around there. It was all domestic. There's one thing that should have gone out that did not go out because I can't find it. When I did the inventory checking every couple months, I'll do that, especially with this stuff here because it's so easy. I take a couple boxes, I type in the search on the landing page, D1, SKU D1, or whatever it may be, and I look and see what's in the box that's listed in there. If it's in the box and it's listed as D1 and all of them are accounted for, that's good. If there's one that's in a box that's not showing as D1 on the SKU column, then that gets taken out. If something is in the box that's not supposed to be in there, that gets taken out. So I ensure that stuff that's in the box where it needs to be is the stuff that needs to be in there, and there isn't anything that isn't. So every couple months I will do that. The primary absolutely times when I do that is at the end of June, so the July 4th sale and the post Christmas sale, because that's when I box stuff up and send it out to declutter. But enough about all that. It's 516 minus the 23 for that pattern. I already messaged him saying if I can't find, I'll have to refund. So that's 490-ish for the day. And of course it's 9:30 right now, so whatever else may come through, being it's Saturday, if stuff comes through before the mail comes, it gets packaged up. Anyhow, let's find out what they are. First are these iBob frames for 40 bucks. So this sale came in yesterday, 12:15. I went in the box, I got them, I came downstairs, I went to package them up, and just as I'm packaging them up, the carrier walks by. So I stopped packaging. Louis DVD set, 25. Some old school packs of glitter for 22. I don't know, these are, by the looks of it, they have to be a 60s. I mean, whenever a thing of glitter was 29 cents, might fall into the 70s, but they were, there's no date or anything on them. But 22 bucks. Now this is a trackball mouse. It is not the optical. It is a trackball. I bought it thinking it was an optical. And when I look at it, it's obviously not. It's a trackball, but it fit in the box, so it stayed in the box. I don't have optical or anything like that, or in the listing or the title, it gives this exact model number. And this was 25. Anna Green Gables, 14. Blinken Lightger, whatever this exact is. So this one was 25. This is one that is, I want to say it's Polish. It's Danish. It is PAL Region 9, so it's very limited. The DVD itself, or the title itself, does sell for that price range. This is one that there's just not a lot of Danish ones out there. Again, we're back at people who want to collect just this title or specific actors or whatever. Collectors want things that are titled the same, but different artwork. Same thing with books, like that Anne Rice interview with the vampire book. That is atypical of any other Anne Rice interview with the vampire books that I've ever seen, so I got it. It's about a $150 book. So if you're a collector of Anne Rice and you want all the different variations, That's one of the variations. Or kind of the same thing with buying different printings of paperbacks that have different covers. And case in point is that Ray Bradbury, the Illustrated Man paperback. That's the one that had the guy that has all the tattoos all over him. That is a different variation, and that is, I think that was like the 8th printing, or whatever, or the 12th printing. So it's a different cover, and because it was different than the ones previous, and it was in really, really good condition. What otherwise is only about a $12 to $13 book, I got 19 for mine because of the condition it's in, and there aren't a lot of them with that cover on there. So that's just going to be a collector wants each and every one. They will get a shelf and they'll put them in little bags or whichever, and they will have the same title, and they'll have each printing illustration variation on a shelf or wherever they have them at or wherever. That's why different things of the same titles in can sell. It's not a true fast way to go. Be like, oh, that's a different variation than the one that it's supposed to be. It's not absolute, but when I find some of those older books by Ray Bradbury, Fahrenheit 451, and Asmanov, and a lot of these other more commonly known but more founders in the modern science fiction or fantasy, whatever it may be, I will definitely take the time to stop and look at them. I do a lot of hand typing as it is anyhow. So if I'm out in stores and I'm hitting stores for 4 to 6 hours out of the day, my entire sourcing is anywhere from 2 to 6 hours. Very rarely does it stretch to 7. But if I'm coming back with 20, 30 things, it really doesn't matter the time frame that it took me to spend an extra 8, 10, 12 seconds to hand type something, because I'm already privy enough to know that it can garner, it can sell. So I hand type it and I'll look it up and I'll look to see if covers are the same or not. Same thing with another, I want to say it's another book that I have, Mortuary Law book. All the other ones that I looked at that had sold has Mortuary Law left margined. The one that I have is one line and it's center margined, the title on the front of it. So it's a little different. The book itself sells, well, the title itself sells. The one I have is revised one. So that's kind of a little tangent on how and why I pick up the little things like that that are common titles, but it's a different variation. Same thing can kind of apply to a lot of movies. There's a lot of movies that have multiple printings, but very specific printings are worth more. And a good case in point will be some of the Star Wars. So you can get some of the early Star Wars VHS that are just known as the red lettering or gold or whatever. It has a stereo hi-fi on it, and it has the spine title. The color of the title on the spine is different than a lot of them, and those ones garner quite a bit more than a lot of the other ones still made in that time frame. Anyhow, that's why you got to stop and hand type stuff. Enough tangent about that. Let's find these other items. So this is a whole box of these connectors called Parker Trans Air. I'm going to guess all pneumatic and all coupling connectors. All right, so they come undone. You put some sort of something in there. It clips in there. You tighten it. So you can make this into whatever they may be. I had bought, I'm trying to even, probably 3 times as many as what's here. And the listing is showing 37. So I have 37 items in here. I probably had 100 and, I don't remember, 120, 130, 140 of these different connectors. Most of them, or the ones that I sold off individually, were new and they still had like a sticker on them, and you could tell that they were never used, and they were much sharper and brighter in color. These ones look like they were used. So something like this was like 20 bucks. Something like these were 80 to 100. I only had a couple of these. Stuff like this, I think these were like 50 bucks. So I had a whole bunch of them. And there were, I think, 7 different types in quantity listing. And this was probably 2 years ago. So the picture shows February 23rd last year. I want to say it was probably after the end of the year sale, and I was maybe down to like 1 or 2 of one specific style or whichever it was, and they weren't gaining traction. Like I was selling, I don't remember. This is just why I decided to lot them all together. Like these here, these are like 15 bucks. A lot of them were going over, so they were getting a little more because a lot of the stuff was going to Washington, California, Nevada, Iowa, Idaho, all those places to where shipping was $6.50, $7 for one of them. And then after a point, they just stopped selling. So I still had the same ones, less quantity, but they weren't selling as fast as they were when I had a whole bunch. So then eventually, somewhere in the end of February of last year, is when I just took them all down, got some pictures, and I think I started the pricing. I think the total would have been like $500. It was maybe 987,654, whatever, 40% off that, which would have been like $600. And I just kept bringing the pricing down every couple months. And eventually, they sold for $240. $240. And I probably had a quarter a piece. I got these at the Habitat for Humanity in Eastlake in 23. Some of them, like this, I think I paid $1 for. Maybe these bigger ones I paid $1 for. But all the other ones varying in size from this to about this. They were all like 25 cents each. Jammin' in Jamaica, 14. Roberta Martin Singer CD, 20. A pair of Vera Wang sunglasses, 19. And 2 more of those serving spoons I have a bunch of for 15. So that wraps that one up. Again, that's 516, whatever it was, minus the 23 for the pattern that I can't find. So 490, give or take, overnight. Well, for what I consider a day sale from mail to video time. It's going to be more in-house. I have the books, probably 50, 60 CDs, maybe 30 DVDs. All of that is not going to get listed today. Probably going to go through the DVDs because I have room to store them. CDs, I ran out of room. I put them away yesterday, and that's what I have left. So I need to start a new box. Well, I'm not going to start a new box unless I have enough to fill the box. And each box can hold 50. So if I know I have enough, all I do is take a box, put what needs to be listed in there and see if it can fit in there. And then if it does, then I get the pictures because then I could just number it and just go into mass edit. All these go into box C39, whichever. But a lot of little tangents on today's video. Hopefully you learned something interesting about the difference of the graphic or the design or the illustration that's available for primarily books, on how it can and it does vary, not all the time, but how it does vary depending on printings and especially editions, but printings, on how some of them, especially if they're a more profound, prolific author, Stephen King, Asimov, Heinlein, just to name a couple, if they make a different printing of a book. And so an example is The Running Man, which is also that's a Richard Bachman, Stephen King. So the Running Man under Richard Bachman, that book, I haven't sold one in a while, but let's just say your basic mass market paperback is probably 30, 40 bucks. The Running Man that goes under Stephen King is maybe 10 bucks. The Running Man second or third print, different illustration, whichever one it was, is like 100 bucks. Because it's a completely different illustration than its predecessors. So if you learned that, awesome. But if you like what you heard, like what you saw, feel free to comment. Thumbing thing going up. That's the best one there is. Subscribe, share. All that's free. And that helps. Appreciate it. Thank you.